Welcome to the Healing While Discovering Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Andrea Michelle. I'm an intuitive transformational coach, certified life coach, certified NLP practitioner, and speaker. I've spent the last 22 plus years helping myself and my clients learn how to create their own happiness and live more abundant lives. In this time, I've also overcome and healed from child sexual molestation, a compulsive eating disorder, hunger, and homelessness. Now it's your turn to move forward with your life and heal from childhood traumas or past experiences. In this podcast, I'll share how I was able to overcome all of my past struggles, as well as my personal stories of overcoming jealousy, loneliness, resentment, and bitterness, and how I learned to forgive. I'll also help you explore your shadow self, deal with having low or no self-esteem, and address feelings of not being worthy or loved. Using my personal experiences and extensive training, as well as stories of grief, loss, depression, and anxiety from my guests, I'll help you change your life and finally heal. Hey, loves. Welcome back to the Healing While Discovering Yourself podcast. And if you are new around these parts, welcome. I am so glad that you're here. And I'm really excited to talk about today's episode because I may mention some things that I don't know that I've ever mentioned before, not for any particular reason. It just never came up. And I think this podcast episodes gives me the opportunity to talk about it. And so what we're going to talk about today is this idea that you've done this before, right? The very thing that you're trying to do or you're attempting to do, the greatness that you're trying to achieve, it's already happened. It's already happened. If you can imagine something, if you have an imagination and you've seen it all play out, then that means that you've done it before. Right? You've done it by receiving intuitive hits, right? You've done it at some point or something similar to it in a past life, if you believe in past lives. Not everybody believes in past lives. And so if you don't believe in past lives, that is 100% cool. I personally believe in this idea of past lives, meaning the soul existed before it came in this body, because there are certain memories that I have that I'm like, why do I have this memory? Why do I remember the 14 and 1500s? Why would I even have any memory of that? Because I don't watch those kind of movies. Like those shows that those series that come on that are featured in like the 14, 15s, 18, 17, 1800s. Like I don't watch those shows. They do not appeal to me in the least bit. I'm just not attracted to them. But yet I'll have memories and I'm like, And this used to happen to me all the time before I came to this knowledge, if you will, before I came into this knowing that the soul existed before it became manifest in this physical body known as Andrea. And I believe that as long as the soul needs to balance itself, aka karma, that once this physical body, right, this life known as Andrea is over, meaning I fulfilled the mission that I'm supposed to fulfill, that if the soul still needs to balance itself out, then the soul will go live in another body. Granted that earth still lasts that long, right? Because if you were raised as a Christian, then you know that there's this belief that heaven and earth will pass away and then we'll all just be in heaven and then there'll be no more heaven and earth, right? Which is another idea. Okay. Past life, an idea. heaven and hell, an idea. You don't have to believe in them. You don't have to believe in anything. As a matter of fact, you don't have to believe in anything that I ever share with you. I am not this person who, come hell or high water, you're going to see things my way. I don't believe that it is even my job, nor do I want the responsibility of making anybody believe anything, right? I've taken that burden, which again, this idea of trying to make people see things your way, it is a trauma response. I want y'all to know that. But I've taken that burden off. It's like when I share with people about, how to use their intuition and how to be empowered and how to speak from their place of truth. The one thing that I always tell them, especially when it comes to being a messenger, is that you're just the messenger. It is not your job to also then interpret the message. You're simply supposed to deliver the message, and that's it. It's like the mailman. When he delivers the mail to you, he doesn't stop and wait for you to open up all the mail. Oh, this came from your credit card company. Oh, this came from your electric company. Oh, this came from your bank for your mortgage. The mail carrier doesn't stop and analyze and interpret all of the mail that we get. No, they simply deliver it and they go on their merry way, right? And so that's how I live my life when it comes to sharing my perspective and my truth with people. It's not my job to convince you that karma is real. It's not my job to convince you that the soul will reincarnate itself. It's not my job to convince you that Jesus is Lord and Savior. It's not my job to convince you that Muhammad is all knowing, right? It's not my job to convince you of anything. At one point, I thought it was because I was so traumatized as a child and experienced additional trauma as I grew into a teenager and then even into adulthood, right? So I dealt with complex trauma and compounded trauma. And so I thought that it was my responsibility to just keep talking and get all of this information so that I could convince people that, look, I'm right. And now because I've healed those things that I've been through, and I know that more healing is on the way because I just believe that we're always on this healing journey, and I'm okay with that. I no longer feel like I have to convince anyone of anything. And so, as I said before, if you don't believe in past lives and intuition, I'm not going to convince you. I'm not going to convince you to. If you don't believe that, Jesus is Lord, I'm not going to convince you. I promise you, everything that I say, I offer it up from my perspective. And I always use myself as an example so that you have a frame of reference and you understand where I'm coming from. You understand where I'm coming from, right? I'm not going to convince you to use crystals. I'm not going to convince you that the moon affects us, right? If the moon affects water, we're 70% water. I have this belief. At first, I thought it was all, I want to say hogwash. You know how the old people, that's hogwash. Real talk. At first, I'm like, man, it's full moon, new moon, whatever. Yeah, I ain't believing all of that. Until I understood that the moon impacts the water. And the way that, and I'm sharing this with you so that you know how I got to where I am. And I believe in having a new moon ritual, full moon ritual, and all of that. And it's still in alignment with what we're talking about. You've done it before, being able to imagine it, see it. And so at first I'm like, nah, and then I started to kind of believe it a little bit, but I wasn't convinced. And then for my 40th birthday, we went to Hawaii. And, we're on the beach in Hawaii. We're in Honolulu. We stayed hotel 2 minutes from the beach. And we had just experienced I believe it was a full moon. I can't remember. No, it was a new moon, because my birthday is October 18th and we flew to Hawaii on like October 20th. So we had just experienced a new moon coming up on a full moon. And so we're on the beach and all of a sudden this kid comes, or the kid's screaming and crying. The mother's carrying this kid, maybe 3-4 years old. And his eye is like swollen and it's all red and she's hysterical, running to the lifeguard. And we're just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And then, the lifeguard is with them for about 10-15 minutes. And then all of a sudden the lifeguard comes with all of these signs and he's putting them everywhere. And he's talking to people who's asking questions. And the sign says, swim at your own risk. There are jellyfish in the water. The little boy had just been stung by a jellyfish. And so I'm like, well, that's weird. What the? I'm like, oh. And so, I let him finish putting up his signs. And so he's walking back past us. And I'm like, I say, well, what is this about? How often does this happen? And so he said, well, when there is a new moon, something with the tide it's when jellyfish actually, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word that he used, but it's when they reproduce, right? They reproduce in an abundant amount. And so as it gets closer to the full moon, right, and the tides change, then it brings them into like closer to the shore or whatever, which is obviously where we were. And I was like, that's so interesting. So then I started doing more reading. First, I started with reading about the jellyfish. And I'm like, wow, that's so interesting, and learn how the moon impacts water. And of course, I'm a lifelong student, which is why I'm currently in school for my PhD in developmental psychology. Hey, I got bars. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, I love learning. And so I learned about how the new moon and the full moon impacts things, and really how it shifts the energy field, and in particular, when it comes to water. And then learning that, oh my gosh, our bodies are 70% water. And so if the moon affects the water, and my body is 70% water, then surely, even if it's a minuscule role, it plays a role in my energy field when it's a new moon, full moon, and all of that. That's how I came to this conclusion. And it's similar when I think about where I am in my life when it comes to, my decision to detach from organized religion, when it comes to my decision to not necessarily believe that if someone, has an abortion, or if someone is gay, or if someone commits suicide, then they're going to hell. Like, it was all a process for me to get here, right? Even this idea of believing in past lives, it was a process for me to get here. It wasn't like I woke up one day and I read a post on Instagram and I was like, oh, yeah, okay, now I believe that. This mind right here, it don't work that way. I'm like, I need to do some additional information. I need to do some more research. I need to learn all about this in order for me to believe this, right? So now that that's out of the way, I think now I can finish talking about this idea that you've done it before, right? Everything has already been experienced, whether it's in a past life, whether it's in your thoughts or ideas. And that's why you have the answers. You have all of the answers for your life. It's already been done. And that's why you can have this idea to do something and you're like, first thought is, I'm not sure how that's going to be done. Second thought is, you get an idea. Oh, this is how you do it. Where did that come from? Where did that how come from? It came from your inner knowing. It came because It truly has already been done before. And one of the things I always tell my clients, I always say this when I do my coffee talks with Andrea and my private Facebook group on Tuesday mornings, which I'm going to be switching to Wednesdays. But anyway, the knowing is already there. The knowing is already there. The reason why you came in this physical body is to experience the knowing. Because until you experience the knowing, then everything remains abstract. And it's just a concept. It's just a theory. But you actually have to experience love to know what love is. And until you actually experience love, it's just a concept. Oh, love, beautiful. Until you actually experience love, then you believe that there's a such thing as conditional and unconditional love. But when you truly experience love, you understand and you realize, like, wait a minute. There is no such thing as a conditional love, because if the love is conditional, then it is simply not love. It is maybe infatuation. It is maybe attachment, but love, surely it is not. Once you've truly experienced love, you know what love feels like. You know that love exists, but in order to experience it, or in order to truly understand it, you have to experience it, right? So everything that you need to live your life, you already have the knowledge. It's just that you have to experience it, and then sometimes you have to recall it, right? Tap into the unconscious. Because if you were to ask me a question about something that I'm already thinking about, then I can give you the answer. But if you ask me a question about something that happened last year, I would have to go through my unconscious and recall that memory and be like, yes, here it is. My first response may be like, oh, I don't remember. And then give me a minute. Let me search through my data bank of memories. Here it is. Here's the answer, right? The answer was always there. When the questioner asked the question, the answer was there. I just needed to recall it, right? I just needed to recall it. It wasn't that it didn't exist and then somehow now it exists. No, it's always been there. And so when you think about your life and your experiences, I want you to know that you've done it before. It's been done before. And guess what? You can handle it. You're healing from trauma. You got this. Is it work? Yes, of course it is. If it wasn't work, then you know that saying, everybody would be doing it. But everyone is not doing it because not everyone is willing to do the work. So I hope you're willing to do the work. And just know that you are 100% supported. And you have the tools. Listen, you have the tools that you need to heal yourself. You just need someone to show you how to use it, right? You just need to learn how to use the tools that you have. Until someone shows you exactly how to use a wrench, you don't know how to use it. You have the tool, right? But it's no good to you if you don't know how to use it. And that's where I come in. I am here to hold a space for you, a safe space for you to learn how to use the tools that you have. And so I want to invite you to my virtual inner child healing retreat so that you can begin to learn how to use the tools that you have to create the life that you want to live. I want to show you how to use the tools, your tools in the way that you need it, not this one size fits all. Because what does that even mean? One size fits all mean it fits no one. It's impossible. If it fits everyone, then it fits no one, because we are all different and all of us have different experiences. All of us, we have different experiences, right? So I want to invite you to the virtual Inner Child Healing Retreat. Go to innerchildhealing.co, innerchildhealing.co to begin healing in a safe space and learn how to use the tools that you already have. I promise you, I'm not giving you anything that you don't have. And if anyone is trying to tell you that they can heal you, please run away from them. No one can heal you. You are responsible for healing yourself. If someone tells you that they can heal you, I don't like to call people a lie. And perhaps they believe that they can heal you. But I want to let you know, I stand here a healed person, not because anyone healed me. Or actually, I'm not standing, I'm sitting, but y'all get the point. I sit here a healed person, not because anyone healed me. I sit here a healed person because I invested in people to show me how to use the tools that I had to heal myself. No one gave me anything. They showed me, oh, Andrea, this is how you use a wrench. This is how you use your intuition, right? They showed me, Andrea, you have this great mix of masculine and feminine energy. This is how you use that energy, both the masculine and the feminine, right? Andrea, you're an executor. This is how you use that ability to get things done, right? They didn't give me anything. They didn't make me an executor. They didn't make me execute on things. They didn't give me masculine and feminine energy. They didn't give me intuition. They showed me how to use it, right? And so that is my role. That's why I don't call myself a healer, but I say I create a safe space, because one thing that is true for people who have experienced trauma is they need to feel safe in order to heal. And having experienced trauma, I know how important safety is. And so it is my mission to provide that safe space for you to heal. And so if you're ready, I invite you to go to innerchildhealing.co, innerchildhealing.co, and sign up for the virtual Inner Child Healing Retreat. Don't you think you deserve to heal? You know, isn't it time to heal? All right, that's what I got for y'all. Let me know if you have any questions about anything that I've said. You can email my team at hello@andreamichelle.com. That's hello@andreamichelle.com. And if there's ever a topic that you'd like for me to discuss on the podcast, let me know. My episodes are planned out, but you know what? I'm the CEO. I'm the captain of this ship. And so if you have a request and it's in alignment with where I am, we can talk about it. All right, y'all. Thank you so much for allowing me into your space, into your ear, and most importantly, into your heart. And as I go, just know that the love in me salutes the love in you.
Hey loves, are you looking for a safe place to hang out while you're healing with other like-minded individuals? If so, then I would love for you to join my private Facebook community called Healing While Discovering Yourself, named after the podcast. This community is for those who are truly seeking a safe place to heal and also show up authentically. If this interests you, then I'm going to invite you to go to Facebook/groups/Healing While Discovering. I look forward to seeing you in the group. Tony Robbins said, "The quality of your life is a direct reflection of the quality of the questions you're asking yourself." And that's why I'm inviting you to download my free guide called 5 Powerful Questions to Ask Yourself to help you take back control of your life. In this guide, you will learn how to shift your mood, break negative thought patterns, and identify beliefs and stories so that you can explore the truthfulness of these stories. Go to andreamichelle.com/powerful to download this free guide today.